Hi everyone, I'm back again with another Christmas card. As I've said before, time in my craft room at the moment is quite precious because I don't seem to have an awful lot of spare time. But I've been inspired by this gorgeous stamp set. Do you know, it's the sort of one I saw in the catalogue and I thought, yeah, that's nice. And then the more and more I've seen examples of it, I'm thinking, I need that in my life. So this is Peace and Joy and the Joy die set. And I've made a little easel card. There we go. And I've used very non-traditional colours for this one. I've used silver, smoky slate, and Highland heather. And then I use the Rococo rose then. And it actually flattens down like this. So it fits in an envelope like this. And then you tuck it. And I've used the poinsettia dies then as my little stoppers. So I'm going to recreate this one using Pool Party and Real Red because I love that combination together. And I'm going to make more of a traditional coloured Christmas card. So the first thing you need, my base of the card is actually 6.5 by 11. And I'm going to bring my scoreboard. I'm actually using thick Whisper White for this one. And I'm going to score a 2 3/4. And then 5.5, which gives you another 5.5 left then for the base. So because it is a thicker cardstock, you need to score it really well and burnish it well, but watch you don't crack it as well. Because the thicker the cardstock, sometimes it's more likely to crack. So when I did my original card, I burnished it both ways a few times because the important thing is that this piece here will stand up for you. Okay, right, that's all I need to do for that at the moment. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create my base layer, which is this piece here. There it is. I'm struggling because once again I'm in the dark doing it. Not in my room, obviously I'm not in the dark in my room, but it's dark outside. My fluorescent lights are not always the friendliest. So my piece here is 6 by 5, and that's going to be here. And I wanted a bit of a border all the way around it. And I'm going to stamp a sentiment, and I've used, this is a really old stamp set, Hometown Greetings, Hearts Come Home. I like this one, wishing you a beautiful season and a new year of peace and happiness. Because let's face it, we all need a little bit of peace and happiness with what's going on in the world at the moment, don't we? So I'm just going to line this up in my Stamparatus, whatever it's called. At the moment, the council I live in, the area I live in, has gone into a local lockdown, which is great fun, as you can imagine. To be honest, it doesn't really affect me because that's all I do is go to work at the moment. I either go to work or I go over to help my husband at the plot. So it hasn't had a huge impact on our lives. But the authority I work in, the council I work for, has also gone into lockdown. So I'm travelling between 2 lockdown communities. So I'm just going to stamp that, and I've stamped it towards the bottom of the card. I'm going to, because it's a very, very fine stamp set, it's a very fine font. That's why I'm using the Stamparatus, because I wanted to build up the colour a little bit. So I'm using Real Red for this. I think it's the most gorgeous Christmas colour, Real Red. I love red for Christmas. There we go. Then I'm going to add some details to it. I'm going to add some of the leaves. And the colours I'm using tonight are Real Red, Garden Green, Pear Pizzazz and Pool Party, because I love Pool Party and Real Red together. I think it gives it a really fresh, clean sort of look. I'm just going to take this out the Stamparatus now. So I'm going to use my acrylic blocks. There we go. So I'll put that stamp set on the side. And I'm going to start with my Paper Pizzazz, and they're like the little pine leaves. And I'm just sort of stamping around the sentiment here. And I always think, right, I'm going to stamp really randomly. And then it looks always looks quite uniform. So now I think I'm going to stamp really uniform, and sometimes it comes out quite random. Bit of reverse psychology with myself, I suppose. I'm going to put one up by here now. Obviously you won't see the top of this when you have the card open, but this would be the perfect place to do to write on your card. So I'm thinking, why not go for it? It's Christmas. We should be able to stamp our little hearts out. There we go. Then I'm going to use garden green for the holly leaves. I love these little cute holly leaves. There we go. And you know, I don't think garden green isn't a colour I use that often actually. But it's perfect for your Christmas cards. But I should be thinking to myself, garden green is for life, not just for Christmas. There we go. Then I'm going to add some of the little holly berries in now. Which are super cute. Ooh, now let's see. That's the good thing about photopolymer. Look at the state on that. At least with photopolymer, if you make a mistake, it's much easier to see where you've been. I'm just going to stamp that off again and do it again. That's how not to apply ink to your stamp. I applied it more to the acrylic block actually. There we go. So I'm going to put that now to one side, and I'm going to put that on my mat, my real red mat. So have you started your Christmas cards? Now I tend to begin really enthusiastically, and then I think everything else gets in the way, isn't it? And I lose time then mainly, and it just seems to creep upon me then. But this year I can't see us being able to do nativities in school because we're not actually allowed to sing in school. Can you imagine banning singing? What's all that about? So as you can see, I've stamped it there further down because that's where my card is going to butt up against. I'm just going to scroll that again. There it is. Now then, I have made bright up, and the great thing is about these stamps, these dies, is that excuse me, you've got the die for the full outline, then this one then, which is just the offset of this one, and then the really fine one. Word of advice, use self-adhesive sheets or use a little Xyron maker, because trying to add glue to this would be the most fiddly thing ever. So I thought I saved myself the bother of that. And what I'm going to do then, I'm going to use my pencil, and I'm just going to mark roughly where it's going to be. I'm just going to put some pencil marks just roughly where my sentiment's going to be. Now you probably can't see that. To be honest, I can't very well either. But they are there. Oh, there we are. You can see them there. And then I'm going to use all these lovely little stamps again, and I'm going to start making my front image. So I'm going to be stamping once, twice to have a variation in colour. So I'm just going to fill this in then with some stamping. As I say, when I first saw this, it was one of those stamp sets that creep up on you, I think. Some of them you look at straight away and think, I need that in my life. then other ones you look at and you think, yeah, they're nice, but I don't know what I'd do with it. And then you see examples of it and you think, why haven't I gone for this? Then I'm going to use Pool Party on this leaf here. And I'm just going to be, once again, and it's much easier if you're wearing your glasses when you need them, which I'm not right now actually. There we go. So I just keep layering this in just to see where, what my sentiment's going to cover up, because there's no point doing stamping for the sake of it, as much as we love stamping. And then I've just got like little bits pointing in. On the other stamp, on the other one I did, I've actually come out from the word. So either is absolutely fine. As you can see there, I've started my stamp in the middle and I've come out. This time I'm going into it. I made that sound as if it was a design choice. It was just a mistake. But as they say, no such thing as mistakes in crafting. They're happy accidents. I won't be very happy if it doesn't look very good, let me tell you. So then I'm just going to add my holly leaves. Now I'm going to just try and get, I haven't got room for all of them to have the 2 leaves. So then at least I can stamp little bits like this to fill in these gaps. And I am going to stamp some, come the other way. I'm going to be a rebel, like this. So then when this comes in, then you can see then it looks really busy and Christmassy. And now we're going to add in our little holly berries. I've cut out the mats for my card using the 3 biggest stitched rectangle framelit dies. I love those. I'm just going to fill in the little spaces. This looks a bit empty here. There we go. So then, as you can see then, that is sitting against a really busy background there. I'm going to lay this one onto the red first. And there we go. Then I've got on a Pool Party as well. And some people have said before, how would you know which colours to put together? A great way to work out which colours look really good together. Look at the colours that Stampin' Up! Put together in their designer series paper. And then that'll help to inspire you as well then. Now then, I'm going to add foam dots to the back of this. Like this. I love, on this stamp set as well, these little pieces here, these little stamps. Can you see them then with the coloured background? I love those. So for this one I'm going to stamp out Merry and Bright. There we are. The longest part of any card making is taking the backs off these things. Because they all stick to you, don't they? Or is it just me? And every time I make cards, I think I really need to grow my nails. There we go. Just add that there then. And I have got some of these little enamel dots to have a little play with. I just find my craft knife then. I'm going to scatter a couple of those in, some of these small ones. I'm not sure, I think these might be last year's. As you can see, I didn't use them all. Didn't use very many at all by the look at the back. Right, so that's going to be going there on my card. But before I stick that down, I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm going to see what this baker's twine looks like wrapped around the back. Because I meant to do this earlier on, stuck the piece down and then realised I hadn't done it. So I'm going to have a little tiny bit of double-sided tape, and I'm going to put it at the front because obviously our card is going to cover it. I'm going to just wrap it around like this. Right, I'm going to have to cut that there. I need to try and just sort of straighten these out a bit. I'll cut that there. Just move these around so you can actually see there is twine. Like that. And then that is going to go in the middle of that. Obviously it's too big for this panel, so you only need to put your double-sided tape or your glue towards the bottom part of your front. The bottom part of your front, if that makes any sense at all, of your front image. There we go. So now we've got that part there, as you can see. We need to add our little poinsettias. And I've got this foam piece here, which I think comes with the little brush to get all the little bits out of your dies. And I'm going to use the end of my take a pick with the lid on, and I just push them in quite dramatically, like that. Then use a pencil or a pen, and then curl your leaves, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to add these flowers together then with some very, very old brads, which will leave me just 27 trillion left to use. Because using 2 now and again on a card is never, ever going to reduce my collection of brads, let me tell you. Okay, so now I need to get... Oh, there it is. Just make the holes then in my poinsettias here. There we go. And I've actually got little white brads. They're actually flocked brads. So I thought that was added to the Christmas feeling. Now obviously if you've got the white velvet paper from a few years ago, which I have, but I forgot. I forgot to get that out. Or the red velvet paper, that would look quite dramatic as well. The lovely thing is about these poinsettia dies is that it embosses the pattern on the front as well. There we go. And then I'm going to add these on with foam pads. Now you need to make sure that you're putting them in the right place to stop your card flicking forward. So I'm just adding foam pads either side of my brads, like this. Move that out the way now. You won't see the state of my desk. There we go. So I'm just going to move that back slightly because I need it more towards here. And because it's quite a big embellishment, you just need the edges of it just to keep the back of your card back, if you see what I mean, from pushing forward and covering up your sentiment. Oh, let's just... Oh. And the other thing, if you are using 2, make sure you're putting them on equally, otherwise it'll be wonky. Then I'm going to add Mary Ann, and I've got a really, really thin strip here that I've cut for something or another. Always keep your cut off pieces because You can always use them for little tiny sentiments. And I'm going to use my grid lines here to help me position my stamps. I still struggle though. Just to add and is going to then say merry and bright. And I just trim around these in with my scissors. I know at the moment it is and merry. Let's see where my smaller scissors are. How come? The things you need are never in front of you, are they? So I'm just going to leave a little tiny white border. You could also use your trimmer for this. Or your little, if you've got the guillotine one, that would probably be easier. But I quite like the fact that they look hand cut. Okay. Then I'm going to stick those at the top and then that card is done. There we go. So that's merry. I stick it up here. And merry and bright. Okay, so that's what it looks like when it comes out the envelope. Your recipient displays it like that. I've also made a different card again, similar sort of colours, just that's quite a plain sort of front on it. So whether you like the non-traditional colours or the traditional colours, the choice is yours, but have fun playing about and getting some Christmas cards done. Huge welcome to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I shall hopefully, if I get more time in my craft room, I shall see you soon. Hwyl fawr ffrindiau. Bye.